Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Krashy, and today I wanted to do a nice chill commentary video. I haven't really done one of these in a little bit, kind of one of my favorite style of videos where I just kind of open up the mic and talk, but I wanted to dive into my thoughts on Pokemon Unite, kind of pull myself back in time to a discussion that I had a while back, actually, a pretty long time ago here on the channel, where I am talking about the viability and the potential for Pokemon Unite to be an esport or a competitive title, more officially, a more official esports title. So last night, or really early in the morning, however you want to look at it, there was the second official competitive tournament for Pokemon Unite, and this is the Pokemon Unite Winter Tournament. Now, the first event was just like a Japanese tournament. I don't even think it had like a branding to it. It just was, Japanese tournament that they had put on, and I didn't really follow it too much, but yeah, it was a Japanese tournament. They announced a second installment, or just a second tournament, and it is this one that happened. And the way that they're running it, it looks like they're doing two pools of players, so it's like two full brackets of teams. And they did one last night. There will be one like late tonight or early in the morning, again, however you want to look at it. And the finalists of those two brackets, the top X amount of teams, whatever it is, probably 4 teams or so, are going to potentially be invited to a LAN event. Now, I did kind of scour through the rules, and I couldn't really, I'm using Google Translate and things, couldn't really tell what the prize pool is. But I did see that it didn't really guarantee that they'd be invited to a LAN. It said like they might be invited to a LAN, unless that's just bad translation. But nonetheless, the prospect of having a LAN, the implications of having a LAN is pretty cool stuff. And just this tournament in general, having a branded tournament, the winter tournament, it's official. It's got, production. It's being run through a Japanese company. I'm trying to remember. The Japanese company that's running it is called JCG, and JCG, from a little bit of research, is just like an esports company in Japan. I'm not sure if they just do production, if they, I don't know what all they do. I don't know if they have their own in-house casters, but they have on-air talent for this event, so that means they have casters, and, definitely seems to be a bit more of an investment in the competitive side of Pokemon Unite. Now, like I said, to jump back in time a little bit, something I've said in the past is that I just see that this game, or I feel like this game, was developed for competitive play and was developed for like esports potential. Now, it's a game on the Switch, it's a game on mobile, but mobile gaming is actually huge, especially mobile esports are pretty huge. And even though the game's on the Switch, and that's probably just because of the Pokemon Company and their, relationship with Nintendo, I could easily see this being a cross-play competitive title, but I'm mostly looking at like the proof, right? Like, let's look at the facts. Well, they developed the game and launched the game with custom matches and a ranked mode and like a global leaderboard, right? And although I'm not necessarily happy with the current state of ranked or leaderboards or anything like that, that aside, these are very important things to make note of, to kind of pay attention to the fact that these kind of features are in the game and would be very good for supporting the competitive side of a game. And, shortly after the release of the game, I don't really remember how long after, to be honest, they released the spectator client and the spectator mode. Now, the spectator mode is a necessity for any competitive like esports broadcasting. Like, having the ability to control the spectator client is really good. Now, I don't think that the spectator mode is too great. It could definitely use some love and some like updated features, but that's not really a huge concern. It's pretty solid for what it is. And just like, again, the fact that it's in the game is very important. Now, the last detail is the fact that the game launched with custom matches. Now, there's no need to have custom matches to have a fun game. There's no need to have a ranked mode with global leaderboards and a spectator client to have a good game. But they developed it in this way. And I think that when you look at it that way, you have to be reminded that, this game has been clearly, in my opinion, clearly developed for competitive and potentially even esports. It is a competitive game. So, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below on this. But there's a lot of sentiments of like, oh, the game's for kids, and like they just want a casual game, and I hard disagree with that sentiment, and it's because of the fact that you can kind of see it in the development of the game and the features that the game has immediately, that the game really has not been just developed for kids and was not developed as a casual game. Do they have a lower barrier for entry? Absolutely. 10-minute game is you know, the bread and butter of this game. They have a intentional low barrier for entry. You know, it's easy to hop in. It's on the Switch, it's free. It's on the mobile platform, it's free. That's intentionally the goal, 100%. But that does not necessarily mean that it's made for kids. So you know, now that we're looking at these tournaments and just seeing what they're actually doing with the game, I find it to be incredibly interesting because it definitely seems like more of an investment. You know, they have this company involved that I'm assuming is probably their production company, like specifically production and maybe casting company. They have casters, which means that these people have to be paid. They have a potential prize pool, a potential LAN, and I'm looking at the investment, right? Like I'm looking at it from the business standpoint. Well, why put this on? Why are they doing this? Well, in my opinion, I think that they're doing a couple things. They're gauging interest. I think that they want to see what is the game competitively. What can the game be competitively? And the other thing is that they're actually investing in it. They're starting to open the door and say, okay, we're going to build this thing and we'll see who shows up to it. You ever heard the saying, like, if you build it, they'll come, they will come? I don't know what that's from. It's probably from like a movie or something, but if you build it, they will come type of deal. Now, I do expect that these types of events are going to start happening, you know, in North America, for the US, for different countries, and eventually we'll probably see some kind of global circuit or some kind of global participation to get a bunch of teams to go to like a Pokemon Worlds event. I'm not exactly sure how the Worlds events or like the World Championships for Pokemon happen. You know, now, like, I don't know how people qualify for those or get into them. I haven't really done any research on that, but I just see that this will all probably happen at least like once, you know, to really see the interest of Pokemon Unite, to start to invest in it, to see how much they can grow it. And ultimately, a competitive scene doesn't really succeed unless the game is just thriving. So I'm just like watching all of these pieces, right? Like I'm watching all the pieces. I'm looking at the game. I know the game needs to improve. I'm looking at the competitive side and what they're investing in currently and what it could be. And I'm seeing a future in my mind where it's like, you know what? All of the issues we have are things of the past. You know, they're going to continue to develop the game in an appropriate and positive way, and they're going to continue to invest and put forth, you know, more time and effort towards the competitive side of the game, which the game, again, in my opinion, was clearly developed for, in order to build a nice game, a sustainable game for the long term, and a competitive game for the future. So friends, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see, you know, what is the implications of a tournament like this, the winter tournament with, you know, a potential LAN event, you know, hosted by, you know, JCG, which again, I should probably have done a bit more research on. I looked into them briefly, but, you know, Japanese esports company, and what's the implications of running an official tournament on their official platform on YouTube, you know, the Japanese Pokemon Unite YouTube account, in order to, you know, progress this game competitively. So as always, friends, be sure to be kind to one another, tell somebody you love them, and I'll see you on the next video.